Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on my channel here. This one is going to be a little bit different than others in the past. A lot of you guys probably started following me during the winter months or the off season when everyone was wearing jackets and long sleeve shirts and all that kind of stuff to try and stay warm. But recently here in North Carolina, as you guys can tell, not only by me wearing a short sleeve shirt, but also by the sunshine, that it is getting warmer. It's probably about 70 degrees right now, so obviously I'm not going to be wearing a jacket or pullover or anything in that weather because it feels glorious. But in my last video, I wore a t-shirt and somebody commented and asked me about my arm. And I figured that a lot of people would probably end up asking about this as I stopped wearing long sleeves and started wearing short sleeve stuff, obviously. So if you guys didn't notice, my arm right here looks a little bit different than most arms, right? So we got this arm right here, and then we've got this arm right here that you guys can see looks a little deformed, if you will. And so today I wanted to just talk to you guys about my arm and what happened to it, because it's a pretty life-changing story for me. Yeah, I'll just jump into it. So a little bit of backstory. I used to play baseball, which is why, which is one of the reasons why I love sidearm in disc golf so much, because throwing sidearm is fairly similar to a low sidearm shot in pitching, which I used to do every once in a while. And so the sidearm felt very natural to me. So I played a lot of baseball, and the summer before I was going to college, so I was going to walk on at Western Carolina University to play baseball. I was a pitcher, and I don't know how far I would have got, but I could throw mid 80s and only weighed about 145 pounds, 145, 150 pounds. So I knew that with the right, college training program, that I probably would have been able to be a pretty solid pitcher. I was very accurate. I had good speed for my size. And so I was excited to walk on and see what would happen. And so that was kind of my goal. That was kind of where my mind was set, was baseball at that point. And one of my buddies that I hadn't seen in forever, we went to elementary school together, called me up when I was in town for the summer and said, "Hey man, we are heading out to the river to go to a rope swing, and thought I'd holler at you, see if we can have fun." And I've always been an adventurous guy, like cliff jumping, and I've been skydiving, all that kind of stuff. I've always loved adventure and I guess thrill seeking to a certain extent. And so I was like, yeah, rope swing over the river, that sounds freaking awesome. So we went out. It was about a mile hike back in the woods to get to the place. And the rope, once you got to it, it hung out in front of you. So if you guys have been on rope swings, you know that the best kind of rope swings are the ones that you can get a lot of momentum on. So you start way back and you can swing really far out. So this one was hung out about 10 feet in front of you, and it had a ski handle on it you could grab onto, and then there was a rope tied in the middle that went straight down, and then your friends or whoever was below you would grab that and hand it over to you. So climbed up into the tree, they handed that over to me. You grab the handle and you take that extra rope and you put it behind you. So my first time swinging on it, grabbed on, got a big pullback and went off, jumped up into the air, and turned in the air for some reason, and almost as if it was in slow motion, I could see that extra hanging rope come up as I reached out to the full trajectory. So the handle went out and that extra rope kept going, came up, wrapped around my arm, and then right when I hit the water, it tightened. And my arm just stopped working. I couldn't move it, I couldn't feel it. There was no pain or anything like that at that point, because my body was like adrenaline. Like it was like, okay, shut everything down in that arm. We're not feeling anything. And later I found out there's a lot of nerve damage and all that kind of stuff. But I started yelling to my friends. I said, "Yo guys, come out here, like come and get me. I can't swim, like I'm hooked up, I'm in this rope, get out here." And they came out and got me, and we went back and called my mom on the shore and told them to meet us at the hospital. And again, it was about a mile hike back. And anytime I tried to walk, I would pass out. And so I had to kind of hang on to a friend's back while my other arm just kind of hung there doing its thing. And we get to the emergency room and they tell me that it's just a rope burn. And I'm like, I don't know if that's necessarily true. I can't move my hand. I can't move my arm. I can't do anything. And by this point, I was in excruciating pain because it had been about an hour and a half or so. And so adrenaline was starting to wear off. And they said, you'll be fine. Go home. You'll be fine. So we went home. And a couple days later, we were like, actually, I think we scheduled an MRI like that same day just to check. And a couple days later, we went in for the MRI. My arm was still not working. And we found out that I always mix these up, but I believe my bicep and my tricep were 100% severed. Like they were no longer connected. It was as if you were to take a piece of Play-Doh and just pinch it. That's what happened to my muscles. There was no visible stuff on the outside of my arm. Like I wasn't bleeding. My arm didn't get shredded or anything like that. It was all underneath the skin. And then the brachialis, which is in the middle, was 75% of the way through. And if that had been any more, I would have bled to death. That's what the doctor said. He said, it was funny, the MRI doctor, a guy that went to our church, or the guy who ended up doing my surgery, said, here are the two logical options. You should have either bled to death or you shouldn't be able to use your arm. But God isn't logical. He is beyond any human logic and says, no, you know what? I'm going to save this guy's life. I know that he had big plans for me that didn't involve baseball and all that kind of stuff. And so as hard as it was at the time, like I'm super grateful for where I'm at now, because I wouldn't be here if I hadn't hurt my arm. I probably would have made it to minor leagues and not really gone anywhere. But the Lord had bigger plans for me on YouTube and all that kind of stuff. But so we found out that those were all torn. My hand, I couldn't open for about 6 months, and this finger lagged behind. So finally I could open them, and this one would just be like this for a while. And my arm was stuck at a right angle just because it had kind of petrified at that point, because it wasn't moving. The muscles were dying. There was no surgery being done or anything like that. And so my doctor, who's like a big shot surgery guy, like done surgery on a lot of professional athletes, Shaquille O'Neal back in the day, all that kind of stuff. Very, very big guy who, or very, very well-known guy who was booked for months, but was like, I'm getting you in. We're making this happen. And got in. He said it was like sewing together wet paper towel for my muscles that had like started atrophying and everything. And we didn't know if my arm or my hand would ever work. But I mean, my hand works fine. My arm works fine. It does get tired still, even though that was when I was 18 and I'm 33 now, so 15 years ago. Is that 15 years? That's 15 years. Wow, that's kind of crazy. And so, you know, it was pretty impactful to me and stopped a lot of dreams that I had at the moment, but kind of led me down a different path, which I'm super grateful for, like I said, now. And so, yeah, it was pretty insane. Pretty insane. I had to go through therapy for about 1.5 years just to be able to straighten my arm. Like we would sit down and they would just massage and pull and pull and pull. You guys can see again here what it looks like. And then the tricep right there, you can see where the rope was. The rope was right here, pulled around it. And so yeah, now it's mainly just a cosmetic thing. My arm just looks weird, but it works. And when I work out, like I used to do CrossFit a bunch, it wasn't bad unless I did focused stuff like this. If I do anything like this, it's fine because that works out a different part of your muscle. But this right here is still kind of tough. But yeah, I don't know. I wanted to share that with you guys because I saw somebody comment it, and I figured that a lot of people would be asking the question. And it's just something that you guys can know about my life now that I think is kind of crazy. That literally, to the doctor's standards of logic and science, I should have bled to death or lost the use of my arm. But I didn't. And I'm here today, and my arm worked just fine. I can play the piano if I wanted to. I play the guitar, so there's that. But yeah, I don't know. It's nuts. It's crazy. But I just wanted to share that with you guys, just in case y'all ever see my arm. Yeah, that's what happened. Had a pretty crazy accident, freak accident for sure. So be careful on rope swings. Regular rope swings where it's just one rope, you're totally fine. Hang towards the bottom of it, it won't wrap around it. This one, it was just stupid. I knew it was a bad idea in the back of my head, but I thought I'd be beyond it. So yeah, that was it. Hope you guys enjoyed watching and hearing that story. If you guys want to comment down below some crazy stories or accidents that have happened to you that you survived, that would be kind of cool to share, see if anybody has similar accidents. But yeah, thanks for watching. Love you guys. See you on the next one.